Yeah, fly, world.
Hey everyone, it's Motion Man here. I have a Gwent match for you today. I'm going to add a voiceover to this clip because there's a little bit too much going on in Gwent to kind of get by with just using those subtitles there. I'm going to be recording this all in one take, so there's probably going to be a lot of screw-ups with me and my voice quality is obviously, as you can tell, pretty bad because I'm using a terrible gaming headset mic, but if you can bear with me, I hope you enjoy the video. This is my first deck that I ever made. I didn't really use a guide, so it's probably not that optimal of a deck. It's a monster deck focusing on the Wild Hunt cards, and this is one of the first rounds that I've ever used it on, so we'll see how this goes here. The basic strategy that I have in the deck and what I'm using through my mulligan period here is to try and get the Quen sign out and to try and pop that on these Wild Hunt riders, because that's going to give them a little bit of a shield to stay on the board and a little bit of a buff to make them a bit stronger. They have to stay on the board this round because the plan is to get them all out. I have 3 in the deck, and to lose the round because then the Brave trait will proc, giving them resilience and allow me to carry those over to the second round, which gives me a huge advantage in that round. So luckily I was able to get 2 in my hand and get the Quen sign out, so I have those out there now. What I can do with my leader card here with Iridan is pull up the Wild Hunt Navigator, which will then let me get my third one out. So everything is looking pretty good so far. I think the player that I'm playing against might be a little bit new like myself, because he kind of just hit himself with his own arrows there. But I'll take any kind of help I can get. So here comes Iridan. There's my Navigator. That's going to allow me to pull out my third Wild Hunt Rider. Basically the most perfect round I could have right now. I'm just going to let him do his turn here, and then I'm going to concede the round, and based on what's on the board, I'm expecting him to just kind of flip his coin as well and move on to round 2. I kind of expected him to get a little bit more power out to make it a bit more even, so he'd be more enticed to kind of keep going and maybe waste a few cards. But I mean, they all got pretty buffed. However, as you can see, he kind of didn't want to surrender the round and wanted to keep on fighting, which is the worst possible thing that you can do, everybody. If you're playing against a deck like this and they get these 3 riders out, you just want to basically give up, because what's going to happen here is, since I have all 3, as you can see on the card there, the trio trait will proc as well, which will give them all +1 every round that they stay alive. Had he had conceded earlier, he wouldn't have had to use all these cards that he's using to try and clear these guys out. And also, if I would have won the round, then I wouldn't have been able to carry these guys over. The resilience or the Brave trait wouldn't proc, and I wouldn't get the resilience, and he would be in a much better position next round. So we're going to start the second round here, and this is basically phase 2 of my deck, which revolves heavily around the use of Frost. I got a second Quen, which is a little bit unusual from my previous rounds, but I'm going to go ahead and pop that first. The good thing about Quen, aside from the actual benefits that it gives to your characters, or your cards I should say, is that it kind of wastes a turn, and it's going to let him play his card, or play a second card I should say, which kind of shows his hand a bit as far as where he's going to weight his units, or which row he's going to weight them in, which helps me determine where I want to put the Frost down at. So as you can see, he rezzed a unit from his grave there, put it in the front row, and I'm going to put a Frost down on that front row, or going to pop the Quen, sorry, to see if he can show me another card and where he's going to put it. So we'll let him decide what he's going to do here.
Modern Freyr is patient.
He's going to res another creature. He's playing a Skellige deck, which revolves heavily around kind of hurting your own guys and then buffing them in turn, as well as killing your own guys or reviving your own guys from your graveyard and making them come back stronger. So that's kind of what he's doing here. Again, the Quen buff let me kind of get him to put 2 cards down before I really had to play anything. And he loaded his front line there, which is a clear sign as far as where I should put my frost down. So I have that there in the
serve
front.
her who is
Now all of those
burden,
units are
mother,
going to be
and
taking 1
crone.
damage every round, just kind of bleeding them down. I do have a card here, as you can see, highlighted, Nithrol. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. He's pretty strong because he's a big component of this second round strategy here. He's going to make the frost damage double. So what I'm going to do here is, since he has his back line and his front line loaded, there's nothing in the middle, I'm going to put down another Wild Hunt Hound, get that frost in the back line as well. Now he's pretty much getting bled out everywhere. I have a huge card advantage. He's getting bled out. I'm going to put Nithril down here. The bleeding's going to get even worse. And the round's basically over. As you can see, the decision that he made to kind of go ham in that first round and steal that win, it was definitely the worst way to play against this, because those 3 riders are just crushing him right now. If those were on the board, it would be a lot more even, and I can just apply the pressure with the frost here, and he's going to start getting bled out. So I have Nithril down, as you can see, and he's taking even more damage. Now I have Imilorith. That's definitely not how you pronounce it, but the cool thing about him, aside from looking like a total badass, is he does 4 damage on his summon or his deploy, and if there's frost down, he does 8. So he's a big part of the second round punch as well. It's just 8 down and an 8 damage swing, so that's a 16-point swing, and that's a huge card. I also have a Ice Giant here, which is a 5 power card, but if there's frost as well, it goes up to 10. And since these riders are still here from the beginning of the game, they're still getting +1 every round, which again is insane that he left them out there. Those riders would be gone if he would have just let me have the first round. And again, 78-14, like, that's a huge lopsided victory there. The first round probably wasn't worth it for him in hindsight, as he's probably learning now. But at this point, we're kind of just playing it out. I drew 2 first lights, which is not very useful, so I mulliganed 1. I got a Wild Hunt Raider, which I think kind of looks like Predator, which is kind of why it's in the deck there, and it kind of goes with the theme. So I put down Geralt because I know that this round's pretty much over. I'm just kind of loading up now. He passed the turn. I thought about playing the Royal Decree to get Triss out as well, just to add insult to injury, but that would be bad manners. And nobody wants to do that, because in Gwent, at the end of the game, you can send a good game by pressing X, and there you go. I just got 5 ore for not being a dick. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.